Good morning and welcome to another live watch along with Under the Sticks for Super Rugby Aotearoa. This morning we have the Chiefs, their final home game. They're taking on the Crusaders, desperate for a win. Kickoff has just landed into the arms of the Chiefs carrier, and this morning I am joined by the illustrious Mr. Paul Williams. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you, gentlemen?
That is a lovely shade of salmon or peach.
I didn't want to let you down, though, because it's still Wilson.
Good.
Virtually all of my tennis tops are Wilson. They're cheap, that's why.
I must get this. We have a platform that can recognise brands and things like that and says how much value you're delivering. I think Wilson are probably doing quite well the last few weeks.
Very well.
Very good. Mr. Sean Holley, how are you this morning?
A little bit bleary-eyed. Had a couple of Guinnesses last night.
Very good.
Yeah, had a little bit of a social with all my friends. Haven't seen them for about 20 weeks.
Wow.
And I sampled the Guinness. So a little bit worse for wear, but I enjoyed it.
Good man. 20 weeks has been about that time since the Chiefs last won a game of rugby. So
yeah, it is. Yeah,
nice.
You're in good company there. Sean, can I ask? Was this social event with these cans of Guinness, or were you actually able to get something?
No. This was well poured Guinness. I was worried that there were 6 of us that turned up, and 2 other mates joined us a little bit later. So it's trepidation when you get in a round of 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then when 2 floaters turn up, it's like, ooh, it's been a while. It's going to be interesting. But I survived, and ready to go. I'm sporting my San Patablo. Now, that's my hometown, Port Talbot. It's a steel town, but it's so beautiful down here that we actually call it San Patablo. So here it is.
Very nice. All for that. So anybody who's watching and has come for the rugby, we will speak about that very soon. If you've got any hangover tips, Sean Holley will be all ears. Yeah. All ears. We are 2 minutes in. We've got the put in here for the Chiefs, and they're attacking just inside their own 10-metre. I wanted to start off this morning, guys, because I'm watching the Sky New Zealand build-up, and they're talking about Cruden versus Mo'unga, and the commentators are like, oh, it's really great to see Mo'unga sort of, breaking through and kind of really developing and maturing into a player. Are we a bit sycophantic over some of these Kiwi players? Because, I mean, to me, like, Mo'unga's an established, like, he'd walk into pretty much every club team in the world, bar very few, and he'd walk into a lot of international teams, and it's just very interesting that Kiwi look. They're so used to this high standard of player. I mean, they watched Dan Carter for the best part of 15 years. So that's my opening gambit, boys. Are we a bit sycophantic over Mr. Mo'unga?
Well, I am a bit sycophantic about the whole setup in New Zealand, as you know. But I think the weird thing in New Zealand. That's a great carry. A lot of players come through quite late in New Zealand sometimes. You think of like Ben Smith and players like that. They didn't really get proper chances till they were 26, 27. So that's a nice phase of play, isn't it?
I think Paul is pretty sycophantic about most things in Super Rugby. So
I am. You're not going to get a good answer out of me.
It's an unfair question. I'm not really. I think they are that good. You realize, and when you work with some of them, how good they are. But there's so many of them as well. So they're still talking about Cruden. I would have thought they'd be moving on by now, and yet Gats has gone back to him. He needs something from him, doesn't he, today? But Cruden is still, perhaps, I would say, a guy that has underachieved. He could really have gone on. I don't think he's ever going to be a Dan Carter, but his decision to leave New Zealand and go and play in X and Y, and it's sort of held him back a little bit now. And Mo'unga is the guy that's come to the fore. And you could say a little bit of the same about Beauden Barrett, couldn't you? The moment.
Do you know? Yeah, it's a lot of those Kiwis face a tricky situation, don't they? Because they're like, let's say Cruden was becoming the third choice 10. And I think, when Beauden Barrett came through, I think you could see the writing on the wall. And then you're offered because they don't make that much money in New Zealand, let's face it, unless you're like a top All Black. with the sponsorship deals. So then as soon as a little carrot dangles from England or France, you're out of there.
I get that, mate. But then, for me, it's either you back yourself, stay, become a regular All Black, and then you'll get your cash out at the end of your career, and you will get it.
That's the thing.
Carter, or you you cut your losses early on. And you
like
go
Lima Sapawanga has done the same thing basically. He looked like he was sort of the third-ish choice, and then cut out. And it's something I always think about, because you don't earn football money in rugby, and I think if you become like 100 Test player or Lion or World Cup winner at that level, the money really comes from, like you say, post-career earnings. You think of the after-dinner circuit, right? If you're a proper legit Lion, what's the money on that, Sean? You're like 10k a night, don't you? If you're, or maybe 5 to 10, say, if you're like Martin Johnson or something like that.
London,
in London, do you know what I mean? That's good money. You do 10 of those a year, you're on 50 to 100k. So like Sean says, if you stick it out, the rewards can be there long term.
Oh, lovely play.
Look at that handling. It's a second row. Oh, no, it's not. It's an 8.
Oh, my God.
What a try. I tell you what, Gatlin will be twitching now.
Do you see Chiefs girl quote ad?
Yeah.
Let's go, Chiefs. I recently saw that Gatlin's new nickname is 007.
Yeah, I know.
0 wins, 0 draws, 7 losses.
Oh, we've got jedthian down there listening.
Hey, Jed. How are you, my good man?
Adam, do you know Jed?
I do not know Jed.
Apologies, right, so Jed is a Kiwi legend. So he's is he like a Kiwi Sweno? That sort of thing, probably. And he also used to play. I can't remember whether I don't think he actually played for the Highlanders, but he definitely played for Otago. And so he used to do it, big sort of in the early days of social media and rugby in particular. He started off this sort of second commentary and that sort of thing. He's a very nice man.
On the BBC. I'm gonna give a little surprise to Adam, so hopefully he can share it with us a bit later. Regarding jedthian, I didn't know Jed. How are you, mate? Jed, thanks for joining us. Been a while, but I hope you're well and safe down there in NZ.
It's also quite boring.
Well, Jed, if you'd like to join us for a halftime chinwag,
that'd be good.
Drop us
that would be really good, Jed. If you fancy coming on for a bit.
We pay in donations to Paul Williams charity.
To get me some
for our guests. Has Richie just nailed that kick? No, a little bit.
No, just slid wide.
I was going to say that earlier on. Damien McKenzie missed quite a makeable kick. But I think one of the things we look at this through the All Black context, and it's very apparent for this All Blacks team they need a goal kicker. I am sure they will get back to the stage where they will just cut ribbons to everyone, but they need goal kickers. We've seen that over the last 3 years, and I think Mwanga is shown that he's got the stones for it. They put up the stats actually, and Bowden was 5th on the list, but still not good when you see guys like Damien McKenzie missing sort of, I suppose, a makeable one. You'd expect these guys to do it. So I think that's a nice little subplot to kind of look back on, and we're getting dazzled by all these fantastic second rows and back rows, and
you're totally right. And do you know what? It's a problem they've got. It's a problem they've got in Australian rugby at the moment as well, because they've got a lot of young 10s coming through with pretty low kicking percentages so far in the competition. And then it's Matt Tamua, who looks like the out-and-out clear leader in terms of goal kicking. So it's affecting them both.
Your charity should be clothing you, Paul, by the looks of things.
You don't pull any punches, old Jed.
No, he doesn't.
Very good. Right, going to run through a few comments. We've obviously got a few people here. Morning, folks, from James Reid. Genuinely happy that you Welsh boys have got a bit more freedom now. I'm up in Yorkshire, living 2 minutes away from the Bradford postcode. Nervous times. presumably things not too good in that part of the world right now. Jasmine Smith, do you guys think that the ref should have gone to the TMO in last week's Chiefs game to make sure Soakula didn't score? At least you would have had a definite answer and people could stop bitching. Paul?
I think he should have, just because then it removes the doubt. That's the easy answer.
It's there for a reason.
Yeah, use it. Exactly.
It.
I totally agree.
Do you know it's a so interesting one as well. You know, I speak to the Pro 14 referee manager about a lot of these things. You know, it's a lot of time it's just casual conversations, or we just pick up after a weekend, and you know how guys use the TMO.
Oh, they've gone.
I mean,
sometimes
referees can get a reputation for always going to a TMO.
Right. Okay.
And I think, and this is a world type thing, is that they want the guys to be able to be more confident to make their own decisions. But yeah, I mean, the technology is there for a reason. Sorry, Paul, you were going to say?
No, I was just saying how wide the Crusaders are going early, which isn't like them. They tend to carry a lot more in the narrow channels early on, but they seem to be going flank to flank.
I think Mark Jones, if he's got any influence, and you'd like to think he has, haven't you? Because he's been employed there. He'd like to play a wide game. A former winger, Wales winger. And I worked a bit with him down at the Scarlets and with Wales, and he's a big advocate of wide play. So, we're starting to see elements of it. We've done the Crusaders before, and we've seen them in the wide channels, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm hoping it'll be Boise that's influencing that. On the refs TMO thing, I agree, Adam. There are referees who have a tendency to always go. It's almost like the younger, more nervous ones are. They desperately need to go there to ensure they get the right decision. On the other hand, there's some referees who don't go there because they're a little bit cocky and they feel they know, this is great play, sorry.
Here we go. Oh
my God.
Defense.
Look at that. That's a tight head and a hooker there.
What a clean out. Where's the
loose head? Either way.
Clean out there? That is the time, guys. If you're tuning into us for the first time, that's is the
what
type
happens.
of chat you're going to get. Clear out chat. That's what we are about.
Yeah.
It's
not like TMO sensible comment, and then oh my God, look at that!
Look at me screaming.
Now this is interesting here to see how Crusaders are going to use a bit of power.
There should be a man out there.
Lost control.
Oh, you should have got that away.
That could have been down the other end if that hadn't skipped away.
Yeah. They're set again now.
Yeah. And the other thing I'd like to underline to people tuning in for the first time, if you have Sky Sports New Zealand, you're getting the professionals giving you the minute-by-minute, second-by-second commentary. That's not what we're here for. We're not here for the big details, like who scores the winning drop goal. We're here for the minutiae and the nonsense.
Yeah.
This is, we talk about Holley time. Well, we talk about that after half-time. I all the hope from the week. Here it is. All the hope from the week and anticipation from the Chiefs and the Chiefs fans that they'll get it right this week. And it's drained away in the first 5 minutes. The shape of the game is now they're smelling blood, and you can see the body language of the Chiefs. It's almost back to where they've been.
So Will Jordan has just crossed for a try. It looked like the opportunity was gone for the Crusaders. They lost control of a ruck. They managed to regather. They've gone through. Look, the support play to get themselves in here. I'm going to go back. There's clean out here if you can see it. Super clean out. I think it's on Sam Kane of all people.
But look.
But at the end of this piece of play, Will Jordan has just strolled in. And Sean,
I think is it Wayanui? He's just jumped out there, and that's he's gone over untouched. Will Jordan?
Oh, he jumped out that though.
There's no one there.
Sean's body language.
Yeah, Sean Stevenson that was just jumped out of the line.
They took the Chiefs defenders took a while to realise that Will Jordan was just about to walk under the post there before they actually decided to turn around and put a bit of pressure on him. So this is a big ask because we talk about Warren Gatland teams and their style of play. Warren Gatland teams usually pretty resilient and big ask early on for this Chiefs team. Big ask.
I think the Crusaders, as I say, are smelling blood, and this could get ugly. And I tell you, we've been doing some work at the Guinness Pro 14 behind the scenes on some new statistics, and this is one of them. There's the signs of a real good team. They've entered the 22. It hasn't gone quite right for a phase or two. Chiefs nearly turned it over, but you know what? They stuck in there and they got the score.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of a real good team.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've noticed, Sean, particularly through some of your work, that we're going to see more of as we come back towards the season. In terms of the analyst-eyes stuff, we're gonna bring that to the next level. But we've seen some teams in the Guinness. Is this foot touch? We've seen some teams in the Guinness Pro 14 who just are doing everything to get you into the 22, but inside the 22 they're just not accurate enough.
Yeah,
and this is. I do feel sorry for the Chiefs. They've had some good ball carries, particularly early on. They got that explosive run off the back of the scrum and brought it up wide. But they just, as soon as they're getting in within sniffing distance of that 10-metre line,
it's a good point you make, Ad, about 22 entries. A lot of teams clam up a little bit. They get very narrow when they get close to the line. Wales were like that under Warren Gatland a little bit. It'd be interesting to see the Chiefs getting in the 22 now and how they shape up. But you see the Crusaders for that try, Will Jordan's try there, they kept their width because just like the attack in the 22, when you defend in the 22, you close up because the closest point to score is around the ball, around the ruck. But they've kept their width in that case and got the reward. So interesting stuff. They got a lovely interplay here, handling with their forwards, haven't they?
This is rugby, isn't it, to me? This is 15-man rugby.
Yeah, I would wonder, just because it hasn't now. I know we're used to Super Rugby being on during the summer and Rugby Championship and stuff being on during the summer when our players are not playing. But I wonder, such as being the lack of rugby, that when this has come on, I wonder if more players in the UK and Ireland have been watching this every single week than they would have normally, and I wonder what they're picking up. I'd love to ask a couple of those guys when they come back on the scene ahead of the games, if they've been watching and what stood out to them. So, going to go through a few comments here. This is a nice one from Vincent Cashman. Hi, Sean. I work at Velindre Hospital. Well done for your fundraising for the hospital, mate. Sean, could you just explain a little bit to people? You're very, very active for Velindre, along with Jiffy and a couple of other the big hitters there in Wales.
Yeah, look, Velindre Cancer Centre obviously is an institution that cares for cancer patients of all ages, and it's based in Cardiff. They need fundraising, and they're a great group of people, Vincent being one of them, and they do an amazing job, like all cancer hospitals do, but this particular one reaches out via Jonathan Jiffy Davis, whose wife was treated there, and he's become the president and patron. And in his time, over the last 10 years, he's raised, I think it's over £50 million. And we all, myself, Shane Williams, Sam Warburton, Gareth Bale, Geraint Thomas, Tom Shanklin, Martin Williams, we're all ambassadors. So we join in the events, promote fundraising for the hospital, just so they can keep going and do the fabulous things that they do. So many people I meet in Wales, in particular, who have a relative who has been treated at Velindre in such a way that it's very close to your heart. Then and you boys might know, a few years ago, my son had an issue. It's one of the reasons I'm not coaching again, or decided not to go back. He had a nasty tumor on his neck, a couple of millimeters from his spinal cord, and it was a real scare for us. And it smacked me in the face a little bit. And I took James on a Velindre trek to Machu Picchu in Peru, and we raised £12,000. I think it was £15,000 between us, and we trekked Machu Picchu together before he had his operation, and it was a very emotional thing. So they do great things, and there's a lot of great charities out there, but that's just my chosen ambassadorial role. And thanks for the comment, Vincent. Standing.
Brilliant stuff, Sean. Really happy to get that out there a bit more. From something very complimentary, Lorcan Murphy, quite right. With play like that, who needs a kicker? Lorcan, I think we can see where you're coming from there.
But you know
James
what,
Reid,
right? Lorcan's hit the nail on the head there, because that is why I think there is a dearth of goal kicking in Super Rugby, because they don't rely on points from the boot.
Yeah,
I mean, it's different in this tournament because it's all Kiwi sides and it's been quite close.
yeah.
But if you imagine in normal years when you've got the Crusaders playing like the Sunwolves, right, or Crusaders playing Western Force and they've been sticking 70 points on them, you don't need a goal kicker.
Yeah.
This is a good one from James Reid.
Yeah, because we were about to touch on that. So James Reid says, hold defensive line, let Jordan stroll another 20 yards closer to the post. Is that indicative of a negative attitude? And that's a tough one as well, because whether you're a captain on the pitch or you're coaching half time, that thing will absolutely piss you off no end.
Big time. Big time. And the other way, if Jordan hadn't gone under the post, if he had just dotted down when he could have gone, those things, those 1% make a massive difference. I agree with James. There'll be, look, it won't be overt in terms of negativity and we're crap and, we're losing. But there's this sort of underlying feeling when you're winning or losing, like the Chiefs are, bouncing back, that, things just don't go right, and there's this sort of, I don't know what it is.
Here we are,
what do they call them?
22.
What do they call them? The no talent extras, isn't it? Where you don't require talent, just do it.
He's in, is he?
Oh, no.
Soakolo. Do you know, I was going to mention Soakolo on that carry earlier. He's been one of the underrated players, I think, in Super Rugby this season.
Do you know the thing is, you look at him, Paul, he's big, but footwork, that's what makes it happen.
The Chiefs 8 is he's a real player.
And I think as well, like you don't have to necessarily be the most dynamic, pure athlete at number 8 to, like if you're big, you can still improve your footwork, and your footwork will get you those extra yards that you need to find a soft shoulder.
Ooh.
Oh, pass. It was a forward.
But
Cruden just slung a lovely pass out there.
I think that's what separated Scott Quinnell back in the day. So, when number 8s were, back then, you said sort of Tim Rodber and that sort of mould. Mind you, also Zinzambrook. But Scott Quinnell and Toby Faletau, that's what separates Toby Faletau, isn't it? He always steps before contact.
Well, it's one of the things I noticed earlier on in the season. Caelan Doris at Leinster, another one of these guys who, he's 21, and you're like, oh no, here's another Ireland international, and made his debut early on in the Six Nations. But it was the away Champions Cup game to Northampton, where he'd been doing some pretty flashy stuff, and I don't mean like hanging out in wide channels and stuff, but he clearly a noticeable player. But in that Northampton game, he was just taking crappy ball off the back of the scrum and making a few yards to get it back onto the gain line and stuff like that, and just doing all the little touches again, stuff Jamie Heaslip used to do, particularly in the mid to latter end of his career, when people would say, "What does Jamie Heaslip do?" And the response would be, "Well, if you knew rugby, you'd understand," which was always a bit, pissing on from high above. But actually, it was just he was doing so much of the dirty work that his teammates and his coaches needed him to do. Because, look, if you're relying on your number 8 to hang out in the midfield channels and the wide channels to score your tries, you've got big problems. What's going on with your backline? Everyone's got a job. And the higher up the levels you go, you need your specialists to do the specialist job. And stuff like that. It's just little things. It's footwork. And, I think we've mentioned sometimes, Sean, if kids are watching, or if you've got a kid in your house who's looking to pick up the basics, do your step ladders, do your bits and pieces, get your toes and your ankles nice and mobile. Oh, that was lovely. Soccerwell is such a threat now, Paul, isn't he? They've got the try. He's down.
Is he over? Well, he's dancing over the gain line at the moment, isn't he?
He's a big man, isn't he?
He's making, look at the width on him.
It makes such a difference, right? When you got an 8 like that, you talk about Heaslip when he came on the scene. He probably replaced Costello, Adam, at 8.
Yeah.
And a different 8, but again, a nuisance who could get across the gain line. It elevated the Ospreys when Ryan Jones signed from the demise of the Celtic Warriors to play 8. You think now Toby Faletau's emerging, so I'm talking about Welsh guys, but it's so key to have a guy at 8, because it's not just that pick up there. It'll be now receiving the kickoff. It'll be that carry, and SQ and Toby Faletau were very, very good at that. We used to drop Ryan from the line out high up on the field. We drop him back deep, knowing that the opposition would box kick down.
Really?
They wouldn't realise we were one down in the line out. They'd kick it, a long box kick. Guess who's there waiting for it? Ryan Jones. Thank you very much. You can carry it back to halfway.
And that was it. And you think Jamie Heaslip probably came in terms of the Ireland success. So at Leinster, he comes in for Victor Costello, and for Ireland, really, he comes in after Anthony Foley, and were it not for Heaslip, maybe Anthony Foley gets a few more Irish caps. And it's funny you mention SQ, because Anthony Foley's such a popular guy, such a very talented footballer, but never made the Lions cut. And you think about, some players are just unlucky to play at the same time as others. And anyone playing number 8 when Scott Quinnell was at his peak, pretty unlucky there. Going to run through to a few more
try stands.
Chiefs girl, we will get back to you. You're understandably a bit low earlier on when you put in some of those comments about the schoolboy errors. Your team are back in it now. Paul Tuffey, if you want to see a masterclass rugby, this is it. But as a Chiefs supporter, hard to watch. Well, hopefully that try and the performance of your number 8 right now is going to feel.
It shows a bit of character, doesn't it? We were just worried 5 minutes ago about the attitude of the Chiefs. Yeah. But it shows a bit of character, and you expect that from Gatland teams and people like Sam Kane in the side. So let's see what happens. They're playing at home. It might give them a bit of spirit now. The one thing about the Crusaders, we always say, despite their home defeat last week, they don't go away, do they?
Never. And the one thing that hasn't been mentioned much this season, well, in the Northern Hemisphere, is that Brodie Retallick is missing. So
I love Brodie Retallick. Now, if I had a man crush,
right? Well, we go. But if you think in your Ospreys teams, it's Alwyn Jones. He's that level.
he's quality.
He's that level.
He's such quality in a really awkward looking sort of way, isn't he?
Bones.
That's what I love about him. You're watching an All Blacks match, and all of a sudden, this big thing. He's almost like something from the Adams family.
Yeah,
bursts through the middle of a minefield of players. Who is it? Brodie Retallick.
Yeah.
Lovely offload round the back. He's quality.
And he's almost created that new role for a lock in midfield, where it looks like it's going to be a simple, like you say, Adams family carry up the middle,
but with such skills.
And then he just pops a ball around the back, and then Ben Smith used to be straight through the middle of the field, 50 yards.
Adam, I was Chiefs girl. No matter what score at the end, the game makes you proud to have 2 quality players. Of course, Cruden and Whitelock reaching milestones and still going strong. To be fair,
yeah.
Got a cheeky one here as well from Paul Duffy. You guys must be enjoying that fast rugby. Well, we got some fast rugby up here, but we like a bit of variety as well.
You must have enjoyed.
Dazzle.
Yeah, I must have said you must have enjoyed some of the fast rugby from the 2017 Lions tour, didn't you, Paul? Not so long ago. Talking about Victor Costello on that there now. I was thinking on Wednesday. You know how much of an anorak I am in these things. I think I've got all of the match programs from the Ospreys.
Have you really?
10 years, yeah. So I've got some real crackers in there. I might bring them out for Wednesday's podcast, Under the Sticks, and I'll pick out a few. Yeah, we were talking last night because one of my mates was an official, a referee in the Heineken Cup, a guy called Simon Harris, and he went out to Dublin. Hugh Watkins was refereeing to do Leinster, Benetton, Treviso in the Heineken Cup, right? And he's on the line. And Dennis Hickey now, and we couldn't go over. We were watching it in the pub on a Friday night, knowing that Simon's on the line, right? He's the AR. So we're watching it in the pub now, and Dennis Hickey was pretty rapid on the wing for Leinster and Ireland. Yeah. He's head down the left wing and gone 70 meters, right, down the trams and scored in the corner, right? And we're all laughing and joking, watching, thinking, oh, where was Simon? Where was Simon? Next thing you know, they cut right to a behind shot down the line. The cameraman's got there of Hickey, and alongside him is Simon trying to catch him like this. With his doesn't get anywhere near him. We were teasing him last night about that. So we were talking about Costello and Hickey and all those sort of players.
Yeah.
So, Joe, interesting, guys. So, Mackenzie's just knocked over a penalty. There's 2 points in it now. We were speculating what was going to happen to this Chiefs team after they let in that try. If you're Warren Gatland, we spoke about it. We said resilience was always a hallmark for Warren Gatland team. The guys are showing a bit of fight here, so they're back in it. We've got a tight game. They'll be really happy with that. Dimetilldeath is Boshier a shoe-in for the All Blacks. It's Lachlan Boshier. I mean, look, do we need to keep going on about the absolute incredible back row talent that's all under? I mean, the way they have the North v South game soon. I just look. Let's name an All Black under 23 side. It'd be frightening. Do
you know what? I think what's interesting about Boshier is that Gatland will love him because he is almost Sam Warburton.
Did you see that step? Sorry, Paul.
No, go on.
What? Rewind that and watch the number 4 step and offload. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's the little nuances that we're on about,
Yeah.
Do you know what to say? One thing about like the one thing that's striking me about this is that the forward carriers consistently make yards in traffic consistently, and it's all those 1 and 2 meter games that keep the momentum, that keeps the defense just constantly stepping back a little bit. You're just pushing the gain line. You don't like gain line. People hear gain line, they think you got to push it 10 meters ago. If you're biting off these little chunks at speed,
2 meter, 2 meter, 2 meter, 2 meter. And do you know the thing I always think that's really interesting about in basketball, they use this analogy about being triple threat, right? So when you get the ball, don't dribble it immediately, because once you've dribbled it and stopped, you become only double threat then. So you can only shoot and pass, so they can come straight up on you, right? So they always tell you remain triple threat. And I think that's the difference with a lot of the players down there, because they're allowed to play triple threat. So you can't just set in front of a prop and just think, oh, right, he's going to come over the top of me. It'll hurt, but I'll drop him. You have to be thinking he could step me, he could pass before he gets to me. So it makes defense that much more difficult to plan, I think. I know that's like a layman's interpretation of it, but you just can't defend them like you can up here. Say if you're playing Saracens, or Exeter Chiefs, most of those forwards are going straight over the top of you.
Yeah, there we go. Paul Tuffey telling us that Brodie not being in the team makes things a bit harder, but obviously Chiefs digging deep here.
Yeah, they are.
And he's also following up. Paul, we're here every week at the moment. Very different listening to you Northern Hemisphere guys do your commentary on this. Well, it's a little bit different, and if you want to get up.
Does he mean different or good different, Paul?
I'm sure good.
If it's different, we don't want to know. If it's good different, ping it in.
It is different because we got a slightly different perspective. This is a quality game today in terms of the handling and the tactics. We're enjoying this, but it's interesting. This referee is giving a lot of penalties against the side in possession.
Yes, he is,
which was happening right at the start of Aotearoa rugby.
That's class from Will Jordan.
Just keep that in.
That's brilliant.
He had it between his legs there, right? Well, match director, do us a favour. We want the slow-mo replay of this. Disappointing it's led to a knock-on. But match director, please, give us a sideline camera on the slow motion. We need to see this.
Do you know what's really weird as well? And he's coming inside out. Look at that. That's coached, isn't it? Stand out, jump in.
Yeah. It's knowing the laws. Look at that. That's practiced as well.
I'll be writing about that.
Do you know what the thing is as well about that? We talk about...
and he's on player cam.
Oh, dear.
Oh, thanks, Chiefs.
Only to have the Sky New Zealand player cam. It's funny because we talk about the excitement of somebody like Will Jordan and I suppose the flash that New Zealand fullbacks can bring. Doing stuff like that, doing the goalkeeper skills. Oh my God, that is exactly what you've got to do first and foremost. You know what I mean?
That's what Ben Smith would do.
Yes.
there.
Completely. Just a comment here that I think worth bringing up. Jasmine Smith, rest in peace, Andy Hayden, great man and a rugby player, even though you dived in the line out to deny Wales a win.
Well, if nobody has seen that, and I don't want Andy Hayden, obviously condolences to his family. We don't want Andy Hayden best remembered for that, but in Wales he is best remembered for that, because we have not beaten the All Blacks in Wales since 1953, and the time we beat them before that was 1930 something, and then 1905 before that. So it's very rare we get a win, and we're well placed with that halcyon team that we had back in the 70s. And Andy Hayden literally dived out. No one was near him. No one was near him. YouTube it. All you Kiwis there, YouTube it. Andy Hayden against Williams. He fell out of the line.
It's iconic. I love it.
The ref bought it.
Yeah, I love a bit of
fans will remember Neil back.
Exactly. See, I love cheating like that. I know you shouldn't say that, but anything that overt, I'm a big fan of.
Very good. I was going to say something about Tana Umaga, but given the fact that we've got a Southern Hemisphere audience here, let's just...
don't mention that. They'll shut the internet down.
Yeah.
Let's not be the whiny toms.
Jesus Christ. You'll break StreamYard if you say that.
Yeah, I think this is a good one from James Reid. I think we can all be grateful that Paul doesn't have Will Jordan on a second screen.
Nice point.
There you go. Dimetilldeath. Your guys' thoughts on these new rules in Super Rugby? We loved them in round 1 and 2. They seem to have slightly petered away. I tell you what I would have loved to have seen in Super Rugby Aotearoa is the 50-22. I would love to see these guys with the 50-22.
Totally. Well, I wrote about it in my column this week. So in Super Rugby Australia, it's changed the last 5 minutes of the game. So say if it's 25 all or whatever, and you're deep in your half, say if it's 2 minutes left, there's pretty much no chance you're going to win from there now, right? Unless you've got 50 phases or you get a lucky penalty. Whereas with the 50-22, it's almost like the NFL Hail Mary. It gives you one chance with like 10 seconds left on the clock to bang one into the corner, and you can win the game. So I think it's got to come into the global game. Changes the last 2 minutes of the match.
I'd like to see it as well. It's not an easy skill either, No.
Is that Isaac Boss and Nathan White hanging out in the crowd there?
Was it Isaac Boss?
Yeah, a couple of...
he's former Chiefs, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ulster.
And Leinster, and Nathan White, who did a job for Leinster and Connacht. A couple of, I think, Sean Jedthian's picking up a few here for you as well. Frank Oliver also, penalty was given at the back of the line out, gets stuck into end.
Frank Oliver also what? Passed away? Jed, let us know, man. Obviously...
I'm trying to wonder if he's talking about, if he's referenced to Andy and
that lineup, yeah.
Yeah. This game has, since the score is tightened up...
They've tightened up.
This game has got not loose, but it's got a bit scrappy. We've kind of been moving between the 10-metre lines. No team really making that much of an impression. But you got to think this is exactly where Chiefs need to be. And when you're desperate to get a win, you're going to play this pretty tight to the vest.
I really hope the Chiefs win as well. It'll open up the tournament a bit. Well, not that it will really now, but I just like them to get one win because they haven't been blown away, the Chiefs, in any of the games, really. They were really close early on and some good players in there.
They've suffered injuries as well, haven't they?
A lot of bad injuries. I speak to Brad Webber. Here's my little thing. I speak to Brad Webber a little bit on Twitter. And, I think they felt it quite hard. They act like they haven't been blown away. They've been sort of 4-5 points. Some of them have been last minute losses. That's different to getting blown away, isn't it?
No.
Oh, switch.
Oh, Cruden almost.
Moanga. He went
did they get a hand in there?
Early tackle, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
What Moana did
given
there,
us-
that's schoolboy rugby, isn't it? Going backwards to go forward. And you've got to be so good to do that, haven't you? At that level.
Yeah.
To rope around the back like that.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Shane Williams used to do that a lot, didn't he, Sean? He was so fast, he could go backwards to go forwards.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good at that.
I played with a guy in uni who was he was old school. He was tall and skinny as hell at fullback. I mean, like proper skinny. And I went to uni up in Sunderland, of all places, and we were playing Leeds Met one week, and Leeds Met had a relationship at the time. Maybe they still do, with Leeds Rhinos rugby league team.
Oh my God.
And I don't know why some of these would-be professional rugby league players were allowed line up against us.
Hangover students.
But so it happened because, like, we were coming out of the dressing rooms, you know, ahead of the warm-up, and all these massive guys, like, you know, these, like, massive young athletic guys are coming out of the other dressing room. We're kind of like, who are they here to play? I have no idea.
Who are they here to play?
Didn't know there was another match going on. And then, so my pal at full back, I remember him just catching a kick at one stage, and he caught it on the far touchline, and he just ran across the other touchline, trying to avoid getting smashed. But then, as he got to the middle of the pitch, he started going like diagonally back, and ended up getting tackled out inside his own 22 on the opposite side of the pitch.
20-yard loss.
It was like if Forrest Gump was playing full back for you, this is what it would have been.
You've got to be good to go backwards first, haven't you? Not many. Brian Abana used to do it quite well as well.
There we go. Right now, look.
He's lost it. We'll allow him one drop in the carry. That's about.
That's a tough one. Just for half time, building field position.
Look at his stats.
Yeah, it's interesting though when the games get tight, and I'm sure it'll burst into life again
after Holley time.
Yeah. Chiefs girl. I hate the 50-22. At least make the distance further than I probably wouldn't mind it. Again, I'd just like to see it. I'd like to see it played more regularly. I'd like to see it hit all the major club comps, and I'd like to see it at test level and really see what coaches and players can come up with.
And you know, Adam, it's at test level where it'll make the biggest difference.
Yes.
Because they are the games, right, that finish like 3 points either way. You imagine if we'd had 50-22, Sean, in all the Australia tests we'd had, right, where it's like 2-3 points at the end, and you've got one crack in the last minute to ping it in the corner. You know, it's exciting.
Particularly if you've got a big driving line out, say.
There we go.
So imagine Exeter Chiefs having a 50-22 kick a couple of points down, playing Claremont and Heineken Cup at home. If they could nail that 50-22, they got a chance then, haven't they? Exactly. Very good in the opposition's 22.
He's going to get
good cover.
Yeah, I think it's a good addition. And like you say, Sean, it's not like it's some free giveaway.
Oh, it's a tough skill,
yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, I think for me, the reason why I think it makes such a difference at test level is because test level is where the space is so hard to find.
Too claustrophobic.
And I think if you can free up a man on the perimeter of the defense because they have to cover a kick, I think that's like, is it going to make this stick?
Oh, well, he could be in trouble, yeah.
It looked a bit yellowy, didn't it? And he knows it.
It looked a bit lazy, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And Severus is like, we clearly would have scored from here.
Yeah. His immediate reaction should tell you. And no. Oh, he's let him off, doesn't he?
There seems to be a bit of a chuckle, a bit of
hang on.
Not too bad. Sam Kane coming over, clearly shaking his head. Ref, come on. What are you thinking?
Yeah, come on, ref. I'm the All Black captain.
He's having a look.
Yeah.
You've got to look at that because that's important.
You have to do, mate. I know this is the 9 minutes of guy in the bin in Holley time. Yeah, that's bin. It's bin. Sorry.
His hand's upside down. His hand's upside down. You can't catch a ball like that. It's not a tic-tac.
Do you know what the stupid thing is about this? is he's
That's
committed
bad.
to it. He's committed
It
to
would-
it out of desperation. If he committed to it to actually intercept, he'd have gone the other end.
Would he have scored? No, Damien McKenzie's there. Like, he couldn't give a penalty try.
Paul, I don't
Yeah.
care who the fullback is. Fullbacks don't make cover tackles in those situations.
If that was Bowden Barrett
Bowden
there, now they
Barrett,
give a
doesn't
penalty try.
I
Do you know,
think
wouldn't
his hand turns over, right? So I think it's a very difficult thing, this, for players, because as Adam says, a natural reaction.
Yes.
And you think he's probably genuinely, for some split second, thought he could handle that and tip it up. But if you're going to do it, boys, if you're going to do it, turn your hands that way.
Yeah.
You see me? And give the gesture that you are trying to tip it up or grasp it. The minute your hand goes like that, you're in trouble.
Paint the picture, they say, don't they? So even when you look back at that on TMO, if your hand was the right way round now, you mightn't get a card there. Unless you're Nakarawa, you can't do that with your hand facing that way, can you?
Cast iron, yellow card. That's what we would say.
Off you
Cast
go.
iron.
See, the
And
other
he
thing is as well,
jumped out with a line for that first try. It's a bad first half, actually.
the other thing as well here is if you're going to come out for that, you might as well make sure that you just sprint halfway up the pitch afterwards. Just be like,
bit of
my
distance.
whole mindset was to intercept here.
Or straight down the tunnel.
Yeah, or straight off. Just carry on going.
Just go straight down the tunnel,
See you later. I'll put the showers on.
We've somebody, Jennifer, watching us on YouTube, wants to know the scores. It's Chiefs 10 points, Crusaders 12. Chiefs just have a man in the bin, and we've got 20 seconds to half time. Crusaders, with the rolling maul here.
And it's perfect.
Coming up close to the 5 meter line.
They could go all the way over here unless they sack that.
They could easily have taken 3 points, Richie Monga, right? But they're ruthless.
Here comes.
Oh, beautiful. They should hang that in the Louvre, that mall. That was gorgeous. How far out was that? That's nearly on the 20.
Yeah, it was a good 18 meters, something
18
like that.
meters.
But that goes to what we were saying about the 50-22, Imagine they'd got a kick.
Yeah.
A 50-22 to that area, and they had them all like that, or with a yellow card. They backed themselves. They could have taken 3 points there, but they backed themselves.
And the other thing that I love about that last minute 50-22, say if you've got a 10 and a fullback and a 12 who can all line kick, Sean, you could theoretically set 3 in different places, like a set play, couldn't you?
You could shift it.
You could ping either corner, which means they'd have to drop 2 wings back and a fullback.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically run as well.
But we see, if you do run in your 22, so if you've got, say, like a Rob Carney at 15, right, a left footer, you run in your so your right winger would be back deep for the kick, right? The minute you shift a couple of passes in, right, to Carney, you're thinking, your winger pushes up. And that space that Adam was talking about then is left behind him, and that's your 50-22 kick.
Then you go in. Yeah.
You put a few quid on this, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. That's... Oh, my God, he's done a Bowden.
Goodness me, done a Bowden.
He's just snatched it.
We should really get Bowden on one of these when he moves to Japan. Oh dear!
Well,
like
you said as well, that's Sexton's miss as well, Sean. Like you said the other day, that bad snatch over the top.
Sexton goes into the trees, lost ball, 3 off the tee. He doesn't, he doesn't just go into the semi-rough. He's lost ball out of bounds.
Like in golf, they say, if you're having lessons, the coach will say, "What's your bad miss?" Don't they? And it'll be right. It's a snap hook, or it's a that's their bad miss, isn't it? That drag over the top. Well, that's a good first half. I enjoyed that.
4 tries, 3 tries to win.
Let's have a look at some stats here.
Yeah, we got T1 Down Under watching us on Twitter. Reckons it was one of the softest yellows in rugby. That one, where I think that one has been really, really costly. Not only have you got a man in the bin, but like they've just gone straight over from the resulting penalty as well. The problem is, you take the TMO review out of it, Paul's first impression was, it looks yellowy. And when you don't look like you're making a genuine effort to intercept the ball, you're in trouble. On that statistic,
Chiefs
straightforward.
School has nailed it. Yeah, everyone knows. Unless you know you have a 90% chance to catch the ball, don't try and intercept it because it's a card every day. And if you look at all of those incidents in the last, 5 years, how many of people have caught that one hand legitimately and then gone intercepted and gone on to, very few. Chiefs Girl says 90%. She's done the research, but at best you're going to tip it up. And then you have to recatch it and get your second hand. If you can't get two hands to it, intercept it, leave it alone. The problem is, it's almost like this human reaction. You've made the decision to sort of spot in, and it's almost your mind justifying why you've done it. Then you stick your hand in, thinking, "No, pull it back. I'm gonna knock it off."
Yeah, and particularly at proper elite level, that try is more than likely going to be scored on the wing with a tough conversion, isn't it? So if you're thinking at that level,
well, as you said, you got cover behind you. Mackenzie was coming behind.
It's not worth it. Stats-wise, it's all pretty even, guys. So it's low 200 meters carried for both, 217 for the Cheetahs, 232 for the Crusaders. Possession is like 46-54 for both, which is for the Chiefs at 46, Crusaders at 54, which is pretty standard. Clean breaks are quite low, so they're both under 4 clean breaks for the half.
What's the penalty count, mate?
Penalty count is 6 Crusaders, 4 Chiefs. I tell you what's really interesting is the Chiefs tackle completion, which is 90%, which is very high for Super Rugby and very Gatlin-y.
Very.
But they've conceded 3 tries, so
I'd love to. If only somebody could do some stats about meters made after contact, Sean.
Oh, I'd love that.
Imagine that. Would you like that?
That would be amazing.
Okay. Well, watch this space.
Okay. Watch this space. Yeah.
I got a little. Can I share the screen?
Yeah. Let's
How do I do this?
Hang on. Let me give you the. Have you got your share screen?
Am I sharing now?
Not yet.
Here we go.
You can't see
Here we go.
Can you see that?
There he is.
Yeah.
Thean.
So there's big jedthian. There's Mark Jones, who's coaching the Crusaders now. The handsome guy on the right. That's when I coached the Scarlets, and Jed would have been down there working, probably with the BBC or somebody. So there's the big man that.
I think I was there. I think that Ricochet and myself and Jed were doing the Scum 5 red button.
Yeah, so there's Big Jed and Mark Jones, who's now coaching the Crusaders. Has that gone now?
Big Jed, I think we're still up on it. Yeah, it's gone now. A Big Jed on Twitter at Under the Sticks says, if rugby is a mystery to you, then Super Rugby will be the Loch Ness Monster. So this rugby commentary is for you and me, he says about our watch along. We're going to take that as high praise, Jed. We're going to take that as high praise, absolutely. We like to interpret the positives on this show when it comes to ourselves. Better change us around, clear up the backgrounds here a little bit. And West is best.
Tell you what, Israel Dag's put on a bit of weight since he's finished playing. He's got jowls.
Again, the cutting insights people are tuning in for here.
This is what they're in for. Israel Dag's body fat percentage.
Yeah. James Reid, I think this is a very good question. You can tell James tunes in every week. Have you any action on this game, Sean? Not that we condone it, of course.
He's always got action on it.
I always have a bit of action. Yeah, I'm a big total points man myself. If I see anything around 47 points, total points in a game, I look at the weather, I look at the two teams playing, I look at the referee, and then I've gone high on points today. So I'm delighted there's been 4 tries. And I'm also delighted a little bit there's a yellow card because I'm anticipating Holley time will see points today rather.
Jed's come back to you boys there.
Stop smoking. That's the reason. I think he's talking about Israel Dag.
Must be. Stop smoking.
Oh dear.
Very good.
The Sean Holley fan club never fails to deliver. Jasmine Smith, Sean looking young and sprightly.
Look
His
at that.
interview
Thank you.
He is the housewife's. He's branded as the housewife's favourite in Wales.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
I think Jasmine is. I think Jasmine's point is probably back that picture from that picture is about from 35 years ago. Is it, Paul?
35 years ago.
That would have been.
Or maybe 5, maybe.
No. That would have been. Me coaching the Scarlets. That would have been 2013.
Right. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, 7 years ago. So.
Yeah, we used to do the Scrum 5 podcast. So like this essentially, but live in the ground. So used to have Tom Shanklin on a lot. Jedthian used to do it whenever he was over. Dav James used to do quite a lot.
I did a few with you tonight.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, when you weren't working, you did a few.
We did one on the, if I remember, we commented and did live on a Challenge Cup final. Was it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did at the Arms Park.
Oh, yeah.
Gavin Henson was playing. Who was he playing for?
Blues? No.
I can't remember. I've done so many games.
Yeah.
Was that the trying to think? It was in the Arms Park. Was that when they were doing the double headers when you'd have the Challenge Cup final on the Friday night and the
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, was that in Cardiff City? I'm trying to think. Didn't Stad? I'm trying to think the year Leinster had the comeback against Northampton.
That might have been it.
What was the game? And they played the Challenge Cup final in Cardiff City Stadium, and I think it was Stad and Quins.
Oh, I remember, yeah, because Mark Mapletoft joined me to watch the Leinster-Northampton game the next day. That was a hell of a game. Yeah, because Quins won it.
Yeah, I was sat about. It wasn't in the press box for that one. I went as a civilian, and I was sat about 10 rows from the pitch, just to the right of the tunnel. And literally just the most incredible game, because it's just the quality on show in either half, but the noise and the oh my god moments of everybody, and then is this happening? Is this comeback actually going to happen and stuff?
Yeah.
Something else. Sean, you need to just get me your CV so I can have a version of it to flick up for the broadcast. Chiefs girl, Sean, would you consider coming down to New Zealand to coach, even if it is only for one season?
Yeah, I would. That's definitely something I would consider. Yeah, I'd really like to coach.
Sounds like you could stay with Chiefs girl with all these questions coming in from Chiefs girl. I think she's got a bit of a crush on you here, Sean.
Happy to
Happy
accept.
to do that.
I'd like to go and coach with Philo Tiatia. Actually, that would be a bit of a bucket list. Sean, get on with him really well.
I think Chiefs girl has a solution. Seems like there will be a Pacific team in Super Rugby, so you could coach them, presumably with Philo.
With Philo.
That's not a bad idea, is it? We're formulating something here. All I need now is an agent and a marketing guy.
Right, that's easy.
Any ideas for two guys to form Team Holley?
Right, that's sorted.
So that's Hawaii has now just gone to second in the list. And, taking charge of this new Pacific Super Rugby team. Jed, still watching with us. Great fun. A couple of sessions at the halfway. Always a pleasure to visit.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I talked about Guinness. There's a round of Guinness you never want to get into. Jedthian, right, and Ricochet. Oh my God.
By the way, I hope you're noticing from all the Super Rugby interviews with the coaching staff and stuff. I'm wearing a black and grey check shirt because it's like a Super Rugby jersey these days.
Yeah.
Check shirts, that's what all the boys are into.
Do you know what I quite like, Adam, about this actually for the Pro 14 is the coaches seem to have like a separate but styled uniform, don't they?
Yeah.
So the Highlanders have got that kind of
caps
the cap and the not tweed, but the sort of herringbone shirts.
I think wasn't Brad Brad Moore during his brief spell with Scarlets? Was he certainly adopted the flat cap? And
He did.
They did produce Scarlets ones. I don't know if the whole team are wearing them quite like the way the Highlanders boys do.
But it's a good. I think
fashion parade.
But it's a good revenue stream because if you make. Not everyone wants to go out to the pub in a rugby shirt. Some people do on a Saturday afternoon. But, if you made branded, like scarlet shirts that are red, red, but they're, a bit more sort of civilian, there's money in that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, and that's where I think, you could see Zebre come to the fore.
Yeah.
Best dressed team in the Pro 14,
Absolutely, absolutely. Leicester Tigers have nicked their gear now.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Jed, great contribution on the coaching fashion, Paul. That's the guy I know. Exactly. And do you know what, Paul, right? We have not seen enough scarves on this podcast from you.
I know. That was the scarf era was sort of 2014.
And what now? Are they scarves? Are they cravats? What is the
I've got a mix of everything. I've got a ridiculous amount of clothes, essentially, including tennis, cravats, everything. I'm into clothes.
Good. Well, we must get some rugby fashionistas on here to have a good chat with you. And Jen, speaking of rugby, the second half has started, and not a bad result here for the Chiefs. Crusaders have just coughed up a penalty. I think it's just inside the 10 metre. And if I'm the Chiefs here, you've got 6.5 minutes left on the yellow card. I'm thinking milk the time to take this penalty. Put it over.
He's going for goal, though.
Yeah.
It's probably a good time to mention to our new listeners, watchers, what Holley time is. This is my theory that between 40 and... What do I say? 40 and 60, is it? Or 55?
45, 60.
Oh, yeah, 45 to 60. It's very rare to see a try scored, particularly when it's close in the first half. And ironically, when you do have a card, because one team, as Adam says, gets really cagey, uses the clock a little bit. So, keep an eye out. Any tries between 45 and 60 proves me wrong.
And we should explain the rationale as well. The rationale being that they tend to carry out very deliberate orders from the halftime instructions.
They're playing to implement something.
Not overly structured, but they're trying to do something.
There you go, James. Some of the comments there.
That's a great kick.
Adam's rugby fashion clearly on display with my Highlanders coaching. Do you know what I have? I've been tempted to put it on the last couple of weeks. I have like a bright yellow Canes jersey up in the wardrobe.
Have you?
But it's black across the shoulders and yellow here. And I think if it was yellow, if it was the one that was yellow across the shoulders, probably wear it because I think lockdown has not been particularly helpful to my athletic physique. That's one way we could put it. Here's a great question. I think this is one. This is one for both Sean and Paul. It is probably one of the best rugby questions we could get on this. Would improving Gatland's fashion help his results?
I don't think Gats cares too much about that.
No, I don't think sartorial issues have ever been a big concern for Warren.
Yeah. And for those who don't have the TV up in front of them, Chiefs did make the kicks. There's 4 points in it and about 4 minutes left on that yellow card. Christian Hyde, Newport RFC did the casual dress shirt, blue denim. Shocking.
Yeah. The trouble with that is you're risking double denim, aren't you? You know?
Yeah.
Because everyone's got a pair of jeans, and if you've got to wear you've got to go and do a Q&A in the club, whatever. All right, wear your shirt, right? Oh, my denim. Okay. You're in a rush. You stick your jeans on. You're going in. You're looking like Patrick Swayze in Road.
Like a line dancer.
Yeah. Texas tux. I got to dispute this one from James E. Cowan. Adam can't blame lockdown on his physique.
Adam can't blame lockdown on the physique.
Do you know what? It's not necessarily the pies, but it's probably another word that starts with a P and an I and ends in an S.
Ends in a double S.
So there we go. Chiefs trying to get out of their own 22 here with the line out. Seems like it's safe enough. Are they going to play out from here? Of course, they're going to try and play
Just
out
going
from
to try
here.
and bring up a bit of space behind. That's what
Just
they're
open
doing.
up the angle for the kick, but they're going to. Ooh,
It always makes me nervous, that carry out of the 22. I don't know why.
It's a good kick, mind.
Yeah.
Getting it on that angle down there. Look out.
Oh, hang on. Bridges through. One more inside
oh,
ball.
that's
There it is!
sensational.
Pop. Oh, he's gone on his own. No.
Right.
It's not Holley time yet, by the way.
No.
I can
I
just
think
tell
they've
you,
stolen that.
I'm not a fan. Well done, Chief. And Will Jordan, you just learned yourself a lesson there, pal.
Yeah,
Will
give
Jordan,
it on the line.
You've got to give that ball. That's criminal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
I can't
criminal.
believe it was such brilliant play, wasn't it?
That ball into Jordan.
Like this is really good interplay.
This is
you
the
get the
pass
break,
now
make
from the
most of it,
13.
right? And here, now release it.
I don't think he expected.
Do you know what? He knew he had 2 back rows on his shoulder. He's like, "Nah, I'm going to hold on to this." Which,
I don't think he thought he was going to get through that last tackle bust, did he?
John, look at this. That's Damien McKenzie, and here comes Cruden stealing the ball.
Yeah.
So you get 2 of the smallest guys on their team, right?
And Boschia helped him. Do you know that Lachlan Boschia, like I mentioned briefly earlier, he is like Kiwi Sam Warburton. Gatland will love him. He plays almost exactly the same way.
You know something? I'll always slag off fullbacks for never making the cover tackle when it counts. I will say one thing in fairness to Damien Kenzie, and he is the smallest guy on the pitch most of the time. I'm not saying he will always stop players. He is always making the tackle. He's always getting hands on the attacking player in those situations.
He's fearless.
And you've got to be, speaking of being fearless, James Reid says to us, if you're apprehensive about wearing double denim, you don't deserve to wear it.
Obviously a double denim fan.
Yeah.
But Damien McKenzie's like Chesley and Colby in that regard. They're both very small, but Colby won't duck a tackle. He might get blown off, but he will always try and make it.
You've got to be brave, boys. You've got to have a lot of courage if you're smaller guys to play this game. There's no point being out there otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
No. Oh, he's gone again. 10 meters for nothing.
Has he qualified for the All Blacks?
Why aren't they marking him a bit tighter off the base of that, though?
Is he, Paul? Is he qualified? Is he
He's
eligible?
Never been capped, as far as I'm aware. Let's look it up.
I think sometimes, though, as well, and Sean, you'd obviously be the one to steer us right or wrong on this, but sometimes I think off the back of a scrum, particularly in that situation, let the guy get the 10 meters, because guess what? His teammates probably aren't going to be on his shoulder, and then you can put two defenders on the top of him and try and pinch the ball back. So sometimes you can just play percentages in that situation, can't you?
It's what I was alluding to with Adam Jones last week, and he went like that. Shh. He's taken a tactic now into his coaching that we used to use. So we used to call it concede. All right, that was our terminology. I'm not coaching now unless I get invited down to coach Hawaii or down in New Zealand. So I'm happy to give up all my secrets. We would call it smash 'em. Right, so you get sides running the clock down, and they pick and go, or they just latch on and just run like Exeter Chiefs style.
Yeah.
Well, we would line up aggressively and shout, "Smash 'em, smash 'em," making them think that we were coming hard to double tackle them, this, that, and the other. When in reality, what smash 'em was about was we were to take out the latches.
Ah, really?
Because on a carry like that, the ball carrier goes to ground inevitably, whatever. We would smash, we'd take out the latches either side,
and then jackal.
We would sit Tiprick or Holler or Tandy or whoever it was in the quarterback position on a smash 'em, rip out the guys on the outside, let the ball carrier fall to the floor, and bang, trap him.
Here we go. Right now, they've got to make this work. Good defender. Stayed with him.
That's a great tactic, though.
That's an interesting looking clear out there.
A lot of sides do it now.
Oof, a big hit, wasn't it?
they clam up a bit, then they make a break, and now it's all slowed down. The defense is organised. Can they get in that wide channel?
They're deep. They're deep.
Cruden has just rescued back a couple of meters there with that offload. Lovely pass.
He's having a great game, isn't he?
I know it dropped a little bit, but right.
Bodies everywhere.
Do you know what? You just back up. You're now going to go back up to 15 men. You've got a penalty here just outside the 22. I reckon you put 3 points on the board. Keep the squeeze on Crusaders. I don't think
I agree, mate. I agree. I think you take 3 points here. Crusaders are going to score, and they're going to score another try.
Yeah.
They scored 3 tries in the first half. You've got to think they're going to score another try. You've got to stay in the game. You just got to keep close to them.
There you go. You're talking about Sam Warburton and Lachlan Bosch here, Paul. They've just put him up. He's tied 4th, or he's in the top 5 for tacklers in the league. Yeah. So far.
What was interesting is that Soakolo was tied 5th, and you think how much carrying he does as well.
That split second, there's a difference between an international player. He's just taken it 1 or 2 steps too far. Hasn't realised, hasn't controlled loose play. Cruden's in there, although Mwanga was tracking him back. He's got to give that. He's got to know that the cover's coming for him.
Irishman on.
On comes Ollie Jaeger. Yeah.
There's a couple of penalties there.
Popped his knee.
Straight away, yeah.
Love him.
Well, do you know what I always feel for with rugby players? When they have to go off the pitch and they clearly cannot walk properly.
I know. Why can't they get a stretcher on?
But they've got the arms over guys who are half their size. It's pointless.
A couple of 9-stoners.
There you go, right? Failed locks. If you still want to be in pro rugby, they should be hired as the guys who come onto the pitch and help the other guys get the arms across.
2 henchmen.
Oh, God. Paul Tuffey, who's watching us, he's watching in New Zealand. Clearly, we've got a little bit of a time delay between the North and the South. He's given the game away in the comments. I think, has he just given us no? He says, take the 3. That had to happen.
I think he's on. I think he's on with that.
The points over. Chiefs girl, I love Adam Jones, one of my favourite Welsh players. My nickname for him was Hair Bear. You just wanted to cuddle him. So I think there's a few people called him Hair Bear.
Yeah, Adam Bomb. There was a Cabbage Patch Kid called Adam Bomb, wasn't there?
No, there's a wrestler called Adam Bomb.
Those little toys.
So I taught Adam a course I wrote called Rugby Studies, right? And we had some
we got 1 point in it.
We had some sports science and rugby modules, and Adam did it. Quick story: there was another guy on the course. These were only kids at the time. Adam was 16, and I was teaching them when they're writing their assignments to reference their material. So if you're quoting something, reference who it's from. If it's from a research paper or a text or a book or whatever. And I'm reading this assignment one day, and it's on sports psychology, and this young student had written something like, always respect your leaders. In inverted commas, it was a quote, always respect your leader, take advice from your leader. And in brackets then was the reference.
Darth Vader.
Mr. Miyagi, Karate Kid 3.
That's fantastic. Mr. Miyagi, Karate Kid 3. Not even the first Karate Kid. Karate Kid 3.
That shows he's done his research.
That's great. Yeah, you're right. That's got to go. That pass has got to go 3 yards before, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, Richie Mwanga would catch Cruden.
Warren Gatlin's head is exploding straight from the restart there. 1 point in it, and the Chiefs have given up a penalty on the 22, right in front of the sticks. Richie Mwanga's going to put this over, and that good work. It's just been ebbed away a little bit. And
Coach killers, mate. Coach killer.
And it's almost. I know they got the penalty from the last one, but it's as you guys said, it was holding on to the ball. That could have been that. It wouldn't have been 5 points. It would have been 7 because they would have been clear. There was no cover defenders. He was going to score close to the posts. And again, look, we've seen it happen so many times in these games where we've had just this close, 2-3 minute period where a team have gone from being in a good position, and you get that total swing here.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, we'll always have to reference Aotearoa Black and Richie Mwonga. That is the one. Here we go.
I keep
Sean,
looking at a
Christian Hyde's
comment.
looking for
Yeah.
you to go down to help out the Blues when COVID is all over. I think you'll have to ask Moves if
Blues
that's
V.
allowable.
What's Blues VI? What's that, Paul?
Blue?
He says, when all this COVID's over, do you fancy coming down to the Arms Park and giving the Blues?
Cardiff Blues, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think they got enough coaches there. But,
Loads of coaches down there.
There we go.
yeah, I keep staring at that, thinking it's Chrissy Hind. You know, I'm thinking, Chrissy Hind from the Pretenders is tuning into the sticks.
Oh God! Jasmine Smith hated Wales never made it to the final of the 2011 Rugby World Cup. Playing to the crowd here, Jasmine. They were playing great rugby at the time, and I thought after they played the Springboks in the opening round that New Zealand would meet them in the final. Well, look, we always knew New Zealand were going to get to that final one way or another. I mean, you know, and even when they didn't quite play at their best, they still got all the support they needed in that final.
Yeah.
Enough in it.
You talk to the players from that Wales team, and they were desperate to play New Zealand in the final. They all felt they had the measure of them at last, and that was their time. It's funny how divine intervention, aka Alan Roland, happens, isn't it? But Rollers was right, because I got the directive couple of weeks before that, and I said to my mates watching it, straight red, boys, and they're all going, what? I'm telling you, I've seen the email, that's a straight red. And it was, you know, at the time. It's harsh, but
also you look how much good. Yeah, and you look now how much good came from that. I know Wales got dumped out of the World Cup, but rugby's been better ever since that point in terms of safety.
Oh yeah.
T1 Down Under, I think, is quietly becoming the commenter of the stream today. Just confirming that the rest family after the 2011 World Cup final were released unharmed. It's good to know. Good to know. Yeah, that. Oh,
that's worth a look.
Yeah,
that ball went a long way back, didn't it?
Someone's just had their.
If we assume that people are watching the game as they're listening to us and our incoherent babble, I think that's why we can get away with sometimes a couple of pregnant pauses or the oohs without much explanation.
Because we are just watching it. I think someone had their boot thrown off then. It's one of the worst things in rugby when a boot comes off and then the opposition wing it into the stand.
Jeez, that ruck was allowed.
That was a long ruck.
It was a very long ruck.
That's either a penalty after like 2 or 3 seconds, or it's a non-playable ball after 6. I'd like to see the replay on that. But look,
I tell you what, this is all fitting perfectly into the Holley time theory, though. They haven't moved outside the 10-meter line, either team.
Yeah, and he's going to kick as well. He's got the team.
Take your time, Damien.
Yeah, another 5 minutes.
Oh.
Lala's having a good game, isn't he?
He'd released the ball. That's what happened. He'd released the ball, and
that's it. Oh, I tell you what, he's in the office Monday. That ref, go review.
Yeah, that didn't look right, did it?
It was a steal. And then I think the Crusaders boys got their hands back on it straight away. But he's unsighted as to the ball.
He panicked then, didn't he?
Warren Gatland won't have a problem with that, though. And he certainly won't have a problem if Damien McKenzie can put this one.
It's a big thump for Damien McKenzie, that, though. It'll be on the edge of his.
It's looking good.
Great kick, boy.
I'll play Damien, boy.
Game on. I think his last kick, he had a sighted, didn't he? It was a similar sort of angle, straight-ish. So that helped him, but
muscle memory.
Christian Hyde's here, Sean. He means the Cardiff Blues visually impaired.
Oh, right.
Also says he's been called worse.
Yeah, I'm a big Chrissy Hind fan, mate. Don't worry. Yeah, get in touch. I'd happily go down and help in whatever way I can. Yeah. be delighted to. Once this social distancing business is out of the way, if you need help, let me know.
Cruden got himself in a little tangle there.
That goes as well, obviously, for the Hawaiian rugby team and any other franchise that is in a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Any
team that trains on a beach, basically, innit?
Come on, Team Holley, come on. My agent and marketing guy.
Yeah. We're all over this like shingles, don't worry. We'll get you up there.
Yeah, Sean will not coach unless the average daily temperature is plus 22 degrees.
Plus 20, yeah.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, coaching philosophy just will not stick.
Yeah.
It's not conducive to cold and wet conditions.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to do a blood flow. Right, here we go.
Cruden, he's slipping off tackles like Thomas.
This is starting to go. This is starting to go a little bit bare knuckle. They're starting to get in a bit tight.
Oh,
well,
let's face it. Right?
It goes out second receiver, backdoor offloads.
Come back. He said.
Backwards, he says.
Moanga pulling the strings.
Yeah. And, we've got Holley time, but this is also moving into Crusaders time.
Oh, no charge.
I'd say that.
Good recovery by...
He's done well again, Will Jordan. Even if he makes a mistake, he covers it quickly, doesn't he?
He's a bit of X factor.
Week, didn't we? He didn't chase his error. And by the way, what we're judging on him, it wasn't the most straightforward situation. It wasn't like it was a perfect 2-on-1 and he didn't pass the ball. But we're talking about high expectations for a guy. People are talking about being a fullback for the All Blacks. So, you've got to pull that.
That's always the unusual thing when you're talking about players. I always think it's like bands of criticism, isn't it? Because you're almost talking about him now as All Black level of critique, aren't we?
I just think he got too many errors in his game, mate.
Too early.
He's definitely got X factor. He's definitely got something there. But I just wonder, you look at your Ben Smiths and people like that, Israel Dag, X factor, but very consistent.
And he's only young, isn't he? Oh, hang on. Brad Webber's just flung Sevi Reese over.
He dived over. Look at this. Like WWE.
I'm trying to figure out if he's dived so he wouldn't smash his ribs off the side of the hoarding, or if he's just dived because.
All we needed then was Sevi Reese to pick up a plastic chair, hit Brad Webber over the
back to him.
Yeah. Paul Tuffey asking if we're here for tomorrow afternoon's game in New Zealand for commentary. Paul, I believe it will be the very, very middle of the night for us. There's not a chance. Paul might be tweeting, but...
might be up tweeting, you never know. If I can't sleep, I might be up.
Actually, now, the offers are starting to roll in, Sean. Jed.
Rumours that Phuket vagabonds RFC search for. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, Jed, I'm all over that. Phuket vagabonds. Yeah, we're there.
Do you know
what?
Webber's definitely pushed him.
The TMO, they are looking at this, and that is dangerous what he's done. You're pushing a player towards advertising hoardings, which you shouldn't be doing.
But hang on a second, we might be looking at this in different context. Forget that if he did that in the middle of the pitch,
that's what I'm saying.
Pushed him in the middle of the pitch where it's all safe. We'd still say, no, that could be a yellow or a red card.
Played on.
Played on. I think Sevi Reese hasn't helped the situation.
No, I think that's what's happened there. They've just
Oh,
look at Cody Taylor.
Leg drive. Oh.
He's an underrated player, Cody Taylor. Everyone talks about Dane Coles. Cody Taylor's class.
Do you know the instant visual I had from that? Sean, did you start watching any of the Das Boot series I recommended to you?
Not yet. I've got it to see.
Every now and again, they show you the engine room in the U-boats, and it's just like this row of pistons that go.
Yeah.
And I see Cody Taylor's legs moving. All I can just see is pistons in an engine. Just boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Literally, Das Boots.
Yeah, and it's pure front row leg drive as well. It's that one. It's like, oh my God, open space.
Oh,
Love it.
Look at
Love it.
Mwanga. Do you know what's interesting about Mwanga is he never seems to get into proper trouble, does he? He's always able to get out of it.
Well,
Never gets smashed. He's always like able to just nick around the corner or.
sorry, boys, but that's the end of Holley time.
Another successful. Do you know what, Sean? With a bit of planning and a little bit of capital behind us, we could storm the betting market with this.
He's going to score right after Holley time. How perfect!
20 seconds. Have you ever heard of the hole-in-oneers? Those gamblers from the late 80s?
No.
So they realised when most bookies weren't connected by central computers that a hole-in-one occurs in, say, roughly every 1 in 3 professional golf tournaments. But people back then, particularly bookies, thought they happened, once every 10 years, and it wasn't really a thing. So the 3 of them put in, I can't remember how much cash it was, and did a tour of the UK, accumulating, betting on hole-in-ones, and they made like £1 million before they were shut down.
Get off.
Yeah, in the early 90s or late 80s. Look them up, the hole-in-oneers.
I tell you another thing, right? And I haven't done the research here, but I was told by a former coach I worked with that the percentage, the chances of a ball striking an upright or crossbar in a game, what would you think it would be?
Pretty low.
It's actually really high.
Is it
right?
really?
It's something like 75 or 80% chance of
way.
a ball.
In a rugby game.
In a rugby match, right? Now, I went, nah, like you. I was like, there's no chance, mate. And I'm out of games I watched. But you watch games from now on, right?
Yeah, now you've said
You'd be amazed how many times the ball hits the upright or the crossbar. Yeah.
And you just don't pay attention to it, do you?
No. I mean, I don't think it's been one in this game so far, is there?
No.
That's they're looking for the knock on there. I mean, the ball looks like it goes backwards or it stays flat. But
it looks fine to me.
In the spirit of a knock on, he has dropped the ball.
I think it's a try. It is a try.
Yeah, he's giving it a try.
I was right for once, thank God.
But it was after Holley time.
What was 20 seconds after Holley time?
No matter.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's perfect.
It's almost like Crusaders said, right, Holley time's over, we can score now.
It shows the precision of the theory.
So we have Richie Moran was about to take the conversion. Looks like Crusaders will go up 27-19. You'd almost say Chiefs, if you could quickly get 3 points, that would be good. But the problem is, I think 3 points means you're putting the ball straight back into the hands of the Crusaders. They need 7. They need 7 pretty quickly, and they need to sustain possession.
I always think, man, I always used to think like this, even though the scoreboard is quite close, right? The reality, I think, like a little bit like football, it's really 4-1.
Yeah.
That tells you more about the game, is the tries. It's 4-1. So the chances are that this Crusaders team are outweighing the Chiefs really, or given everything by 4-1. So they've stayed in the game with some penalties, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
We said the Crusaders would score again, didn't we? And they have, and it's still 20 minutes to go.
Oh, what a take that is!
Yeah, Jasmine Smith. I think we are like-minded on this one. I hate that law. If you drop the ball, it should be a knock-on. I tend to agree with that, but the rules are the rules, and
they don't mess about in rugby league, do they? They knock it backwards, they give a knock-on.
Yeah.
Now, do you know the thing here? We're going to see with the Chiefs is they're going to be in desperation.
Chiefs have gone to bits there.
Yeah.
Someone needs to drop on that.
Ooh, he's a big unit.
Yeah.
Could move very fast, him.
And he made that slip catch in midfield. Oh.
Speaking of the action, James Reid, Sean, just wondering, is that 46 total points so far?
If my maths A level still serves me, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm on the nose.
Yeah.
See what, Bridge has played well today on the on the left wing.
I think after last week's spectacular toe poke assist to himself,
yeah, got a confidence boost.
That was a poor tip on pass. That was. He put him in trouble there.
Tell you what, Bridge is one of those players who'll end up in a big French or English club. He'll probably give you one more season and then have a for a 400 grand move.
He's one of those players who could, and you used to see it more than I think you see it now. Those guys who would come up from the south and they would stay with a club in Europe for 6, 7, 8 years and become just legends of that club, like an Eastern Sailor or something like that. You just don't really see it very much anymore because the guys tend to come up and they just move contract to contract in Europe because the market is what it is. There's a former Pro 12 face, Andrew Goodman. Did a few hard yards there for Leinster in the midfield on the days when Gordon Darcy and Brian O'Driscoll weren't available.
Look how global the game is. That even just this now, how many people we've spotted this? We've got Mark Jones, we saw Isaac Boss, we've got Goodman.
And then Leonard I think.
Do you know what I mean? Just in this game alone, how cross-pollinated both hemispheres are now.
Well, this podcast, mate, this podcast has been brilliant.
Yeah.
We didn't know how it was going to go. There's so many people tuning in and engaging with us. And we're just rambling. We're fans, really.
Look at that
big
scrum.
It's scrum porn at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
And it's great that so many people are coming in and engaging with us. What's T1 Down Under said? Which Welsh player should Gatland recruit?
Great question. Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a great. Alan Wynne-Jones.
Well, Tipperick would be the Chiefs type player, wouldn't he? But you got Sam Kane there. He can move Kane to 6.
They need a big
look at this
lock.
Again. It's so rare you see a
look at the state on that.
Go vertically backwards.
Yeah, that was bums in the air. That's wow.
Oh, hell of a tush.
They like that. That's a scrummaging moustache right there.
That's very wrong. That is.
It's very wrong.
That was Frankie Goes to Hollywood, wasn't it? That was
a lot. It's very New Zealand, though.
Yeah,
that entire Chiefs front row has gone backwards. There's one unit there.
I think the Chiefs girl says we're missing Brody. I think Retallick is a massive miss, isn't he?
Yeah, that's why I think someone, if they need a big, powerful lock in there. That's what they're missing.
Yeah, you talk about we're talking about this question here: which Welsh player would go well with the Chiefs? I think Tipperick's a great one because Tipperick could go down there and he'd immediately have the footballing skills.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To survive as well as he's
that's
great
way short.
Down. That is short. That may help the Chiefs get a bonus point. I don't think that is going to be. I don't think we're going to look at that missed kick and say that's cost them because
cost them a game. You think Justin Tipperick is a classic Super Rugby player? He could fit in immediately. He'd be one of the top 10 players in that league.
I've always wondered with the Ospreys, and because they have had a lot of changing faces in midfield over the last couple of years, and I have always wondered, and it's probably because Tips is always involved in the Welsh squad, but I just wonder how close they've come to at some stage, even during a game, saying let's just move him into 12.
We did it, mate. When I was coaching there, it was I think it might have been a yellow card situation. Try time.
Oh, Mwanga.
Let's just pause the Tips chat for a second.
Oh,
that is utter class by Richie Mwanga. I mean, get that offload away.
Do you see what I mean about how he never seems to get into trouble? Even when he looked like he was in a mess there, he got on the outside.
There's your total points, James Reid, sorry. Yeah, there could be some reputable gambling brands out there who might be willing to,
ethical
put
gambling
a drop
company
in Holley time or Redmond time or.
Do you know what? I actually know a firm that might be interested in doing that. I'll mention it to you in the weekend.
I think this is an all-fair chat, gents.
Yeah.
To the rugby.
Big.
forgot we were doing this live. Then.
Richie Muonga has no right to cut through that angle.
At all.
The inside ball there off the back of the maul, that's just a beautiful little. Do you know those classic little snap pass? It's just a basic. And we shouldn't be surprised if the front row does that. All front rows should be able to do a no-look snap pass.
Yeah.
5 yards either side of them.
And you know what, mate? Scrum halves should be pulling guys who are at the back of mauls in training and working on it. You know, I'm there. I'll give you the signal. I'll give you the tap. You break away. Give me the inside ball or give me the outside ball, inside out, you know. But Richie Mwanga, the step, we talked about footwork earlier, the step at pace.
Sorry, I could have corrected myself. It wasn't a snap pass. It was a regular belly pass.
It's still good work, though.
You see the step at pace, you know, it's just sublime, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't recover from it.
Oh no!
Oh, Will Jordan. Is that Will Jordan? No, it's Bridge, I think, snapped that one up.
Yeah, all we need now, me and James Reid, is for the Crusaders to pile on the points. The game's done.
If that's a coach killer.
I think Richie's tried to keep it interesting when he missed that conversion because there's still 13 points in it.
Go on, give it a go, man. Come on.
Oh. No, he's dropped the ball in contact now.
Who's made the tackle, though? Big Sam Whitelock.
Was he out there, was he?
The shapes on Sevu Reese there, pretending to throw the ball back.
He's trying to make up for taking a dive over the hoarding. That's what he's doing.
James Reid, I see your comment. I'm not putting it up. We're putting a talk to this kind of conversation prior to 10 a.m. in the morning. It's not family friendly in my eyes.
What's that?
He's wondering if you have any associates in somewhere out east who could help you.
Oh, I'm not mentioning the Russians again.
Surprised to see you actually this morning.
No. Oof. Been undercover for 4 days.
I'm fully expecting Paul to endorse Russia's bid within the next week or two.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and their bid for the Winter Olympics. I'm on the pitch team.
Yeah. Do you know what you can see here as well? Immediately now that they've got the gap, Crusaders are going so hard at the breakdown because they're not too concerned about giving the penalty away.
Nothing to lose. They're all in there.
And that's the leverage you've got now, you know? That was very upright into the tackle. Didn't like that.
They almost make it a little bit hard work, the Chiefs in the 22, don't they?
Do you know what I would... Do you know what I would like to do, actually? It's just that question from T1 Down Under. Thank you for sparking this. I think we could get an Under the Sticks episode, because you know how we love our makey-uppy dream teams and stuff like that, right? I would love us to put together a team of Pro 14 players who you'd send to Super Rugby, and then vice versa. The players from Super Rugby we'd like to bring up to Pro 14.
That'd be great. Have they got to be current players, or could they have been former?
Yeah, I think they need to be current players. We need to do some serious,
Because I always wanted to see James Hook and Shane Williams have a little spell down there, and Jason Robinson.
And then we get Sean to do his Pacific Island Super Rugby 15. Just kind of put his credentials out there.
Which would actually just be his shopping list of players he wants.
Well, I'm going to coach them, aren't they? So,
that's what I'm saying. You might as well do it. Kill two birds with one stone.
Jasmine Smith, I like Mwanga at Super Rugby level, but at test level, he still needs to prove himself because he can get showed up by other teams. I think he just needs a bit more time at test level. And
there is that.
I see the point, but let's remember, Jasmine, when he does play for the All Blacks, the amount of talent that's going to be around him.
Even better, isn't it?
So he's playing in a good team now, but you put the best players in New Zealand around him as well. When
you put Aaron Smith inside.
Yeah.
And then...
So, the focus of attention isn't just all on him. They're having to watch all the other 14. So
I think that's something we don't really we don't take into account sometimes as well, because it's a really good point, because if you put in a 20-year-old Dan Bigger into a Wales team that's really looking for a lift to try and do something in the Six Nations, or that was a nice fend. or you do something like that for Ireland or Scotland or pretty much any of the Northern Hemisphere teams, there's very few of them who are power-packed enough that you could say, yeah, look, we don't have to worry about putting the 10 in because the talent around them is so good.
Yeah.
Usually when you're putting a new 10 in, there's a lot of pressure on that 10 to perform and carry the team a bit. So
that's right, yeah.
It's
Jasmine is seriously. They've got to go for the corner here, haven't they?
But how hard are they making it to score? Try.
They seem like they've been in the 22 for about half my life.
Oh, just tap it here.
Do you know what? I'm all for that. Mind you.
I know, line up and do it all on the old knee one. Remember the old tap on the knees? Let's go.
Yeah.
Set play.
Thing is, it's so easy now, it seems, to score from a maul and the line out. You've just got to put it in the corner, haven't you?
The problem is you're chewing up clock, though.
I know. You know? But in Super Rugby Australia now, maul tries, they barely used to have any 2 or 3 seasons ago, bar the Brumbies, who use it a lot. Yeah. Now they're all using that tactic.
I can just see in the background, there's fans there with like bottles of beer in their hands, banging on the hoardings, getting excited. The rain is coming in.
No.
It's quite enticing.
I know. I really envy you.
Oh God. Now. Right, so let's look at this. Right, the maths are working out. 14 points would win it for the Chiefs. There's 7.5 minutes on the clock. They got to go over here. They've been bounced back on the initial drive.
Well done. That's
they're
good.
fanning out the defense. They're fanning out the defense here. I don't think they're going to get over.
The other thing, Adam, that's just changed by the sounds of the commentaries, it's just started raining very heavily.
Down,
yeah.
So
I can see that.
This has got to be tight now, isn't it?
They need to get over in the next, I would say, the next minute, 2 minutes max, and then they got to reclaim the kickoff.
And the other thing, it needs to be kickable. So they need to be pretty close to the sticks if they can. I don't know whether they'll even be thinking about stuff like that, but you need to be.
This reminds me of.
They need to go under the sticks.
Yeah, they need to be.
Does this remind you of a Gatland's Wales?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sean, here now, if you need 14 points minimum, would any of the players be
called offside there? He was in front of the post.
Would any of the players be thinking we need to score near the post, or is that a level of detail too far?
No, they need to score.
Just
that's all I'm thinking. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God!
I think the Chiefs have been done here because that was a blatant offside. Crusaders 7 in front of the post, had his heels on the post protector.
I agree, mate. I think the refs had an average game. I think he missed a load of stuff.
That's like, I think that is absolutely. That's not, like you've got to call that. It's just so blatant. We get I think Sam Kane is complaining about a few other things. Well, he's playing the man without the ball. There's playing the man without the ball.
You just dragged him like a bin bag then.
There's 2 clear offences there right in front of the sticks by Crusaders. They've got to be called.
So animated, isn't he?
But if you were watching this...
Here we go. New Zealand 7 offside. Never seen that in my life.
Oh, no comment.
If you were watching this and you'd never seen any Kiwi rugby before, and you were asked, who's the All Black captain on the field? Who would you pick?
Yeah. Do you mean in terms of it being Sam Kane?
No, you're asked, right? You just watched this. You don't know who the All Black captain is. Can you find him on the field? Who is he?
No.
I'd probably say Sam Whitelock.
Yeah.
I know he's playing in a team that is losing, but
in terms of performance, he's the one standing up.
Harley Worthy, this reminds me of Wales v Australia 2015 being 2 men up and still couldn't score.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
Where's Harley Worthy been all morning? Just joining us, Harley. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good point, though.
I just that's something I'm going to. When I'm chatting to Greg Garner next week, I'm going to ask him about that little passage of play. I just can't believe somebody can be in front of the post on a goal line stand and not get called for offside. This is not me trying to have a bugbear about.
Well, the ARs are there as well, see, mate, aren't they? If your assistant referees are on the line looking across, that's a pretty easy one, unless they're hidden behind the post protector.
Yeah. Now, the comms are calling that Severeese try controversial.
Are they?
Yeah.
Don't matter.
Yeah,
it's on the board, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I
the
mean,
Crusaders
you could put a case, if you're Gatland, you could put a pretty compelling case together of things that have gone against you. Oh,
it's all going wrong now.
Yeah.
God, he doesn't look happy there, does he?
Do you reckon this is the most pressure Warren Gatland's been under in his coaching career?
In terms of losses, definitely.
I tell you,
thing is, what's weird is they were performing well before the COVID break. So in proper Super Rugby, which is arguably what's happened, so you've gone from diluted Super Rugby, this is like Ribena concentrate now, isn't it? It's a ridiculous game every week, isn't it? There's no hiding.
And here we have Cres 85. Why have the Chiefs been so poor since returning? So, Paul,
we go.
It
is weird, but it is. Sean, you're right. It's the most pressure he's been under in terms of how many coaches lose 8 in a row? Not many.
This will be 8, yeah. 8.
That's a lot.
It's a horrible place to be.
Yeah. What's the worst you ever had? Did you get up
10.
here like? You got to 10.
2003, first season of the Ospreys.
10.
Really?
Does
it feel awful?
First year of the Ospreys, 2003-04. We went to the top of the league in end of October. Boom. Beat Edinburgh at home by 40 points at the Knoll. I thought, God, this is a bit easy. We lost the next 10 games. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. God. And we managed to beat Leeds in the Heineken Cup down at Swansea in a ridiculous 9-5 or 9-7 scraped win. And it turned the season round.
Really? Do you worry about?
Do you remember the game that turned it around? And
do you worry about your job when you're under pressure like that as a coach? So when you're like 10, and do you start thinking, Christ, much more of this? And is it like football where 10 losses in a row in the English Premiership, you'd be gone when you're in football?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. No, back then, no, I wasn't worried about. You got to back yourself and
give you the season.
It happens. But that's the worst. I don't think any more than after that. Maybe 3, or 2.
3, 4, yeah. 8 is up there, isn't it? Is the point.
If you're losing more than 2 in a row, something's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And they have got injuries and they are missing some big players. But let's face it, it's not like that squad is bereft of talent. There's a lot of good players still playing in that team.
And they're playing home.
Which is
a big factor in coaching, I believe, is creating a siege mentality, a home fortress. These are words that are commonly used, but it's true. A fan base, a support, an energy, making it difficult to come. Because then you shouldn't lose more than 2 in a row, should you? Because you'll have a home game. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
You shouldn't lose your home games.
Sean, news of that 10-loss streak in your career has sent ripples around the rugby world.
The Phuket's office off the table.
Jed, it's a long time ago, and I was assistant coach. I blame it on Lynn. But
hashtag accountability.
Brilliant. It made me stronger, mate. I'm much better for it now. Oh, the vagabonds are gone.
Right, we've just got Super Rugby now on the table for Holley. Yeah. I'll put some feelers out later, see if we can get him in.
Don't forget Hawaii and Vegas.
And we've got Hawaii and Vegas, of course.
We could just do a series of podcasts to just be all, basically Sean's pitches to, this would be my Pacific Islands team, this would be my Vegas team, this would be my Hawaii team. So I think you could get some crossover between the Pacific Islands team and the Hawaii team, judging by the people who are involved.
I'd make a big play for Hoskins or Tutu for the Hawaiian team. I'd have a big play for him. I persuade TJ Perenara to come over at 9.
Nice.
Lamape? No, he didn't fit my style
Not
of play
versatile
there.
enough.
No. I'd probably in the first year get Sonny Bill out just for a bit
Oh,
of
I like that. Get a bit of
Hawaiian
noise.
offload City and get a bit of feeling. Bit of good for you as my marketing manager.
Yeah, I was thinking of free PR. That's what I was thinking of.
I'm just looking at Cruden going off, getting well-deserved round of applause just for hitting that milestone there in Super Rugby. He came out ahead of the game with his I think his little daughter sort of in his arms and sort of gave a wave to the crowd and stuff, and just showing that point you're making around fortress siege mentality. Is coming out onto the pitch with one of your kids before the game, and everybody's different, but is that helping you get in that froth of the mouth type mentality to go on and physically take on another team and stuff? And I'm not saying it means a huge amount, but the kind of thing that you'd expect to see post-match, not prior to the match.
Well, in terms of the crowd?
Yeah, no, I mean in terms of Cruden coming out with his kid in his arms ahead. I think I'd want my players to just concentrate on that after the game.
Yes, I agree. I totally. I hate all that sort of stuff. I think at the modern young professional, at the end of a game, they're kissing their girlfriends at the side of the stand, and or hugging them, hugging their mum and dad. Get in the changing room. Let's do a quick review of the game. And then go back out and sign all the kids' autographs. Firstly, and have your pictures. Mate, I've just realised, and Steve McInerney has said, is that intentional? We've got the Ireland flag behind us.
No, you've got soft lighting with the orange. My back wall is like white.
Mate, that's the Irish flag.
So strange.
That's smile, boys. I'm take a shot of that.
That's brilliant.
That's unbelievable.
Oh dear. Welsh Rugby Twitter won't be happy about this.
I know. I was going to say the conspiracy theorists will be out now, Adam.
Imagine it was a Russian flag.
Oh Jesus!
Well, won't be long. Won't be long with Paul.
A little sickle up in the corner disappears.
Oh dear. Now, this is a very good point by Jasmine. I think each player is different, uses different motivations to get up for the game.
Yeah,
maybe
there is
his family is his motivation, and I totally accept that. I just would prefer to see it post-match. But look, I don't think we can say it's had any negative or positive impact on his game.
They've done it again.
There's Mr. Whitelock. Mr. Whitelock, 81 minutes in and still...
Chiefs have got nothing to win or play for there. All you can do is injure your squad. Get it off.
There we go, full time. And it's another loss for the Chiefs. Crusaders.
And
I think Chiefs have also been, we think they've been unlucky, maybe on the wrong side of the officiating just slightly. And also someone's made the point earlier on, they've come up against the Crusaders the week after the Crusaders have just lost at home for the first time in about 3 or 4 years. So yeah. So Sean, those 10 defeats when Lynn was still around the table with the Stad owner.
I can't tell that story before the watershed. Thanks, Christian. But that's one of my after dinners. Can't. That's for another day. James Reid.
Another day.
I liked it. Nah, praise professor. I don't ring my mum up after I've taught a good lesson. But that's it, isn't it? It's so true.
Separate your work from your domestic life.
Yeah. There you go. Mum, will you hang around in the corridor? Just if it goes well, I'm going to pop out to you and give you the FYI.
High fiving mum on the way. I taught a great lesson today. High five.
Yeah. Gats is now 008. Doesn't end well for 008. If some of the other James Bonds are to go by.
No, it doesn't end well for 008.
No. I hope Gats doesn't carry this form into the Lions tour. That is exactly it. And I wonder, I mean, the Lions tour could be a great way for him to break away, and also the experience of losing 8 games in a row. I mean, has Gatland ever experienced losing 8 games in a row and stuff like that? You might have to go back to his
Different world, isn't it?
Connacht or
Has this put the tin hat on Gats's chance of ever coaching the All Blacks?
It won't go down well, will it? If you think this is your first gig back in New Zealand.
But you've got to think the conversation is with all the other New Zealand coaches who are trying to get in there. They're immediately going, "I've never lost 8 in a row."
This is what,
and so it's not so much necessarily exactly what he's doing. It's just the fact that the level of coaching in New Zealand, and they're all crawling on top of each other to get into that position. And there's been 3 New Zealand coaches since 2007. Do you know what I mean? And one of those has only just taken the job. It just shows you how tough it is to get that gig, despite the absolute plethora of talent they have.
And also, right, remember, Warren Gatland isn't 8-0 coaching the Sunwolves. You know, that's a squad with Sam Cane, with Leonard Brown. You know, there's a lot of good Cruden. You've got Brad Webber. You know, Waianui's a good player. You've got Damien McKenzie in there. That's a good squad. It's you know, so you do have to have some accountability. 8 losses in a row is a lot.
Oh, that's the stuff in there.
That is a stuff in. You know, that's not a last minute try or an iffy drop goal or whatever. You know, that they were comprehensively beaten there. I was just looking at the stats there. I always like looking at meters carried just as a general guide, and the Chiefs were 340 all in after 80, and the Crusaders are 500, and Crusaders are normally not that high. That's like a Canes Highlanders type number, 500 meters. So that shows, you know, they were it was a rampant victory. And the other one I always like looking at is defenders beaten, and the Crusaders are 23 Crusaders are 23. That's a good number of defenders beaten and shows there are holes.
For Jed makes a point here. Look at Fozzie's record with the Chiefs. It was very good, wasn't it? Didn't they win Super Rugby under Foz?
Yeah.
Now the All Blacks coach. But then Chiefs girl says Super Rugby is different to Test match rugby, and you know, he's got Test pedigree. Gatland. He'll have a different set of coaches. He'll have the best players in the British and Irish countries. Yeah, it's different. I'm looking more at this has been an unsuccessful dipping his toe back in, and it's I don't think he'll go back. No, I think he'll go to the Lions, then he'll take a job in England or France.
Come to France, yeah. The other thing is the difference in Super Rugby.
Jed's making the point. No. They won the.
Oh, they won in the Rennie.
Yeah, it was Dave Rennie. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So what Jed's making the point here. Actually, if he doesn't do well in Chiefs, it may not be the biggest.
No, because Fozzie is coaching the All Blacks. Yeah.
But they still did reasonably well though when they had Foster. Do you know what I mean? They were still competitive. That's not competitive, is it? 8-0. I think the big difference in Test rugby, a lot of it is about not conceding points, isn't it? Whereas in Super Rugby, it's all about scoring them. So it's a slightly different ethos, weirdly.
Yeah. Well, today, anyway, it was the Crusaders who scored the most points comprehensively. They've won this one. And Sean, you'll be happy to know that I saw in the background of Sam Cane's interview, the stands were empty. It seemed like all the players had gone into the sheds, as they call it. And I don't think there's any congratulatory high fives and backslapping happening today. Gents, it has been a pleasure, as always, to spend 2 hours of my Saturday morning with you as we watch a bit of Super Rugby Aotearoa. Thank you to everybody who has commented today. We've had a ton of people coming in across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as well. I think we may have had a slight tech issue on the Facebook end. We'll have to have a look at that ahead of next week. If you like the show, we're back. We're usually here every Saturday morning as long as Super Rugby Aotearoa is here. You can also catch us on Wednesday nights around 9 o'clock UK time for the Under the Sticks podcast. We're joined there as well, usually by Andy McGeady. And latest addition to the podcast is Dean Budd of Auckland, of New Zealand, former Italian and Benetton second row. But for this morning, I want to give my very gracious thanks to Mr. Paul Williams.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Really enjoyed it, as always.
No problem. And thank you very much, Mr. Holley. I hope your action is going well. And what time is tee off?
11 o'clock, but right on cue. It's bucketing down with rain.
Fantastic.
Oh, no.
Can you just shout out on Twitter? Just get the picture from the first tee. Let's see that rain coming
I
down.
will. I'll do it. I'll share it on Under the Sticks. But enjoy this morning, boys. Well done. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Great stuff, guys. Thanks to everybody for watching. We'll see you again soon.